Would you ever start a business renting portable toilets? It sounds terrible, until you see how the economics actually work. Most people see a portable toilet and think about one thing, something they never want to clean. But someone owns every one of those toilets. Someone delivers them, services them, and collects money every time they are rented. And unlike many businesses, the same physical asset can earn money repeatedly. So the real question isn't whether portable toilets are glamorous. It's whether they can become a profitable, recurring revenue machine. And once you understand the business model, some of the numbers become surprisingly interesting. This is one of those businesses where the biggest advantage may actually be what most people don't want to do. But before you buy a single toilet, there are some things you absolutely need to understand. Because this isn't really a toilet business. It's a logistics, service, and recurring customer business disguised as one. You aren't really selling a plastic box. You're selling convenience, sanitation, availability, and reliable service. Construction companies are one major customer because workers need facilities where permanent bathrooms don't exist yet. Then there are weddings, festivals, concerts, sporting events, and private parties. Large events can require dozens or even hundreds of units for a very short period. That means demand can come from completely different markets throughout the year. The most attractive customers are often the ones who need the service repeatedly rather than just once. A construction company with several active sites can become much more valuable than dozens of random one-time customers. That's where recurring contracts start to change the economics. The goal isn't simply to rent more toilets. It's to build predictable routes with predictable customers. Now comes the expensive part. Getting started. The first major investment is obviously the units themselves. Your equipment choice depends heavily on whether you're targeting construction sites, events, luxury weddings, or a combination. Then you need a way to move them. A basic delivery setup and a full service truck are very different investments. You'll also need somewhere to store the units, equipment, chemicals, spare parts, and cleaning supplies. And the startup budget doesn't stop at equipment. Insurance, permits, fuel, storage, marketing, and working capital all matter. This is where inexperienced owners often make their first mistake, spending everything before the first customer arrives. A smarter approach is to keep enough cash available to survive the early months while your customer base grows. So how do you actually charge customers? A rental can involve more than one charge: the unit, delivery, pickup, servicing, and sometimes additional services. Long-term construction rentals can create recurring monthly revenue. Special events can be priced differently because customers may value appearance, convenience, and timing more heavily. Luxury restroom trailers can also move the business into a much higher-priced market. The trick is understanding that different customers are buying different levels of convenience. Revenue becomes much more attractive when multiple units are generating income simultaneously. But remember, every unit also creates a service obligation. The real number isn't what you charge. It's what remains after delivery, servicing, labor, fuel, disposal, insurance, and overhead. This is where the glamorous part of the business disappears. Someone has to pump, clean, restock, inspect, and prepare every unit. And cleanliness isn't optional. It's the product. Customers notice immediately when a unit isn't properly stocked or maintained. Every service visit is also an opportunity to catch damage before it becomes a bigger problem. And now we reach one of the most important concepts in this business: route density. 15 customers close together can be far more valuable than 15 customers spread across an enormous territory. Shorter routes mean less fuel, less driving time, faster service, and more customers handled per day. In this business, geography can quietly determine your profit margin. Now let's separate the money coming in from the money you actually keep. Revenue can look impressive while profit remains surprisingly small. Fuel, labor, maintenance, insurance, disposal, storage, administration, and marketing all take their share. Fuel deserves special attention because every delivery and service call requires movement. Poor routing can turn a good rental contract into a mediocre business. Labor becomes another major cost as your fleet and customer base grow. Then there are repairs. Portable units are durable, but they aren't indestructible. The business becomes attractive when recurring revenue grows faster than your operating costs. And that usually happens when you build dense routes, retain customers, and keep the fleet working. Now let's look at how this business can go badly. First mistake is buying too much equipment before proving demand. Second mistake is accepting customers who are simply too far away. Third mistake is poor service. In a business this physical, bad reviews can spread quickly. One bad experience can damage the reputation you're trying to build. Another trap is ignoring cash flow. You can have profitable contracts and still run short of cash. Growth can also become a problem if you accept more work than your operation can reliably service. Missed deliveries, late servicing, broken trucks, and poor communication can destroy customer trust. The solution isn't avoiding growth. It's building the systems to handle growth. Once your first route is profitable, you have several ways to grow. You can simply add more units and target more customers within your existing territory. Eventually, density may justify a second operating territory. You can also move upmarket into restroom trailers for weddings, corporate events, and luxury gatherings. Large events can create entirely different revenue opportunities from standard construction rentals. Expansion becomes easier when your operating procedures, service standards, and route planning are standardized. Eventually, your goal is to make the company less dependent on you personally. That is when you've stopped buying yourself a job and started building an actual company. And that's the point where a seemingly strange little rental business can become a scalable operation. So, should you actually start a portable toilet rental business? If you like practical businesses, logistics, recurring customers, and physical operations, it could be an interesting fit. But if the thought of dealing with waste, cleaning, and maintenance makes you sick, that's important information. You'll need more than equipment. You'll need sales ability, organization, customer service, and financial discipline. And you shouldn't buy the equipment until you've done the market research. Find out how many construction projects exist nearby, how many events occur, who the competitors are, and what customers already pay. Talk to potential customers before spending serious money. Their answers can be worth more than any online business calculator. If demand, capital, routes, and operations all make sense, then you may have something worth pursuing. Because once the business is established, the same assets can continue producing revenue again and again. And that is the strange secret of this business. The product looks simple, but the operation behind it isn't. You don't need a glamorous storefront. You need assets that customers need, reliable service, and enough demand in the right geographic area. The real competitive advantage is often the network you've built around those assets. Dense routes make the business more efficient. Recurring contracts make revenue more predictable. Reliable service keeps customers. And because sanitation is a necessity rather than a luxury, demand can come from many different industries. The business becomes powerful when those pieces work together. So, can you really make money renting portable toilets? Yes, but not simply because toilets are profitable. You make money by building an efficient service company around assets that customers repeatedly need. And that may be the biggest lesson of all. Some of the best businesses aren't the ones people dream about owning. They're the ones people quietly need every day. If you want more investigations into unusual businesses and how they actually make money, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.